90 minutes with mathematical. I have in the studio with me now a good friend of mine, a great scholar, and one of the most respected people in our institute. You know, I'm talking about Professor Godwin Ichimi. He heads the General Irabor Early Warning Center, situated within the premises of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs in Lagos. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning,
Let's
sir.
hear your voice.
Good morning, sir. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, clearly. We can hear you. And I like your glasses.
Yeah. Good
I like
morning.
your glasses.
Thank you very much. I'm wearing it not out of choice, though, but fine. Thank you very much.
Good to see you, Professor Ichimi.
Thank you, sir.
This morning we are discussing a very interesting subject that, of course, every Nigerian is concerned about: security. When you just hear security, then you know that if a country is not secure, then there's no progress. And within the premises of the Nigeria Institute of International Affairs, we have this new center, relatively new. It was opened last year. And anybody that hears the name of the center asks the question I'm going to ask you now. The center is called General Irabor Early Warning System Center. Early Warning System Center. And General Irabor was the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff. And it just connotes something: military, security, and emergency. So tell us about this center.
Thank you very much. And first of all, let me begin by appreciating you for inviting me to your increasingly popular and very impactful station. You'll be amazed at how much people have to say about this station out there. And I'm not surprised. Everything you have touched has been with the usual excellence and precision that you have displayed on the field of play. So congratulations to you. And
thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome, sir. And I want to welcome all Nigerians and the fans of Eagle 7 Sports Radio. Again, let me join you in congratulating one of my most favorite persons and wish him well on this day that is marking his birthday, and wish him many, many, many more happy returns of today. Congratulations, our most distinguished goalkeeper, Emmanuel Okala, on your birthday. May the Lord sustain you. May the Lord continue to uphold you. And may all the sacrifices that you have made for our dear country on the pitch of play never pass without the rewards that I know are still yet to come, even at this very young age that you are.
Amen. I say amen on his behalf.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, yes, sir. On the Early Warning System Center, the General Leo Irabor Early Warning System Center, let me clear the air immediately by saying that we named the center after General Leo Irabor, the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff of this country, not because our notion of security is limited to military and kinetic issues alone. It was so named because of that gentleman's contributions to the national security architecture of this country, and particularly because of his appreciation of the holistic nature of security. And that holistic understanding of security is what drives the Early Warning System Center. We have an appreciation of national security that is human-driven, meaning it cuts across all facets of life, the security of the state, but most importantly, the security of the people that make up the state. So, for example, we are interested in food security. We are interested in environmental security. We are interested in the security of our public and health system. You know, and the list goes on and on. It's a comprehensive...
Including cyber security, by the way.
Including cyber security. I am going to come to that. It's a complete understanding, a complete notion of security, because as we all know, once one facet of this security is undermined, it threatens to bring down the whole national security architecture. We cannot afford to leave any sector of our national life behind when we are talking about security. Or for then, it will become the Achilles heel. Let me just backtrack a bit. Perhaps I need to provide some kind of background context against which the notion of early warning systems emerged in contemporary international relations. And I was drawing an analogy with our usual understanding of the saying that prevention is always better than cure. Understanding has been mainstreamed into public policy, particularly in the area of security, where lives and properties are always at stake. And not just that they are at stake, but also that unless the state and government in general are ahead of situations, the price that society pays usually are very costly. Now, against that backdrop, and given the mandate of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, the present Director General, Professor Igosa Sagai, bought wholly into this international understanding. By the way, let me mention that at the level of the United Nations, at the level of the African Union, at the level of the ECOWAS, the notion of mainstreaming early warning systems have already been bought and incorporated into the activities of these various multilateral institutions. And since it is the mandate of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs to provide advisory to the federal government of Nigeria and other critical stakeholders, we also established the Early Warning System Center, where timely monitoring, analysis, and advisories are issued in the area of human security. I am sure some people expect me to say national security, but for the purpose of this program, I believe this give us some kind of context, as brief as that may seem, against which we can now discuss the broader challenge of today's invitation to me, which is the question of cybersecurity. Ambassador.
Are we as the National Institute for International Affairs, are we involved? Because, of late, yes. In fact, last week, the president of our country, BAT, that's what we call him now, halted what had raised a storm in the public space, the cyber levy from being implemented by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Were we in the picture? Atai Albert is with us now from his base in Atlanta. Good morning, Atai. Good
morning, Chief. How are you? Sorry.
Very good.
It's a little late.
You are joining us a bit late in the show, but I don't know if you heard what Professor Ichimi said, but it's timely that you are here, because I was just speaking about the president of Nigeria that halted what was a storm in the public space about cybersecurity levy, that was going to create a lot of confusion in the place. And to us, the ordinary person, it meant that there was cyber crime. We didn't know much about cyber crime. So if there's a levy to be paid for cyber security, then that means there was cyber crime, and that would be serious. What is this cyber security issue? Tell us about what's cyber security.
Good morning, sir. Well, very much apologize for jumping on this train a little late. I was just sitting waiting for 2:30, only to realize that I slept on right on the chair until 3 o'clock over here. So my dear apology to you and to the listeners, but at least I'm here. Thank you very much. That question is a very precise, straight up thing. Cybersecurity is basically the protocol, the policies you put in place to ensure that your network is not compromised, that your endpoints are secure, that people that don't have the access do not come into your system and probably encroach on your information, share it for purpose that wasn't designed for that purpose. That's basically the whole knowledge about cybersecurity, because just like you have security, physical security to protect your properties and make sure that people are not trying to have access wrongly. It's basically the same thing, but in this case, it has to do with their digital infrastructure. How do you protect them? How do you make sure that people are not snitching into your network, that people are not infiltrating to tap into it, to alter the content of a network or use it for the wrong purpose? So the measures you put in place to protect this digital content of yours is what really refers to as cybersecurity.
So how serious is this matter? How dangerful, I'm using the word deliberately, how dangerful is this cybersecurity thing? Because you're talking data that is available everywhere. And this is a relatively new thing for all of us. We are going into this new planet, and suddenly we are being tasked that all our transactions in the bank you would have to pay to secure it. It means this is very, very serious business. This whole issue of the cyberspace and the information superhighway, how to secure it for everybody. How dangerful is it?
It is very, very, very dangerous because our lives have changed, especially post-COVID. It's always been there, but all of us do not have to live a life on the cyber, on the cloud, on the internet. But today, people work, play, make money, virtually do everything on the internet. And so it has really, really upgraded the importance of ensuring that whatever we're doing on the internet is protected. Today, especially in Nigeria, but it's a global problem. 77% of businesses acknowledge that there's been one kind of attempt to illegally enter their network. 60-something% of businesses totally agree that they've actually had serious plans to make sure that their network are secure, because since our lives have totally moved from the physical, like we're doing now. Some years back, we wouldn't be able to sit down and do what we're doing. I'm in America, you're in Nigeria, and we're interacting. I'm seeing you, you're seeing me. So now that becomes a big problem and require that people have to make sure that this cyber world that we now live in is being protected against people who equally make every effort to steal data maliciously. Some is just about ensuring that I cannot do what we are doing, because they will alter the genetics of our discussion, of our interaction, so I can't really do what we're doing right now. So at the end of the day, it is a very, very severe aspect of our lives today, because life has moved from the physical for almost 80 to 85% of what we do to the cyberspace. So the bad guys have gone ahead to really improve their effort towards altering whatever they can do at that space. So it now mandates us to be able to put measures, policies, protocols in place to protect everybody that works within our cyberspace.
Well, were you in support then, if the situation is as serious as you have just painted, and we run these risks, were you in support then of, putting up a levy of some sort by the government so that people would have to pay for their own security? Or would it be the responsibility of government to actually provide that security, without asking the people to pay? This decision that was rescinded by the president himself, he had to come in. They had to change their, their policy, sort of, or suspended. I'm not sure what happened now. What was your own take on it? Is this something the country should pay for, or the people should pay for?
The story behind the Cyber Security Levy came out of the amendment of an existing cybersecurity laws in Nigeria. I did not subscribe and I did not support the whole idea of levying the citizens, because the responsibility of protecting businesses' digital network lies with the owners of those networks, which is left for discussion purpose, the banks, the insurance companies. They have a responsibility to protect their network. So now levying their subscribers, levying their clients to pay for their own responsibility in no way does not compel them to improve on the cybersecurity posture. So it was a case of applying a law at the wrong people, which will not actually enhance and improve the cybersecurity posture of the Nigerian cyberspace. And the responsibility is equally on the country to provide a robust framework, protocol policy that businesses will follow. So it's not the responsibility of individuals. Otherwise, the banks, for discussion purpose again, will not go ahead to upgrade and update their cybersecurity posture. If I have to monthly contribute from my transactions, then the bank does not have any obligation to improve the cybersecurity of their network. So that policy equally helped Nigeria improve its cyber security posture, because the actual people whose responsibility is to improve their cyber security, protect the network, is the owners of the network, not me who's just doing a transaction. I'm supposed to be protected. But if I am paying the due, the levy, instead of the actual owners of the network, there is no way that law would help the network owners improve the cyber security or the posture of their situation. So it would have been counterproductive. I totally say that it was purely more of a revenue generation mindset, not for the purpose of actually improving the cyber security of the Nigerian workspace, which does not really bring value, you know. And again, that levy would have been applied only if the people who are responsible to protect this network step up and do the rightful thing, which is protect their network. So applying the levy to people would not have been the best approach. So I really appreciate the fact the president saw the need to reverse the situation, because it would not really help us improve our network.
Okay, this appears to me to be like a rat race between the good guys and the bad guys. You know, both sides struggling to control the technology. Do we have the technology domestically now to be able to cope with this magnitude of threat on the international superhighway?
The answer is no. Nigeria does not have the capacity. But they don't have to invent the wheel. There is what they call today cyber security as a service. Because the speed at which the bad guys are improving on their capabilities cannot be matched by the workforce available. It's not just about even having certified cybersecurity experts. Nigeria as a country has barely 2,800 cybersecurity certified experts. And that's a far cry for a country like Nigeria, you know. So the whole idea of protecting our cyberspace cannot be done with the capabilities within. But good thing enough, we live in an era of shared resources where you don't need to be an expert to be able to support a network monitoring process, because there are tools available whereby you can permanently 24/7, 365 days in a year monitor your network round the clock using automated tools. So even if you even have trained, certified cybersecurity manpower. It is beyond the human visuals. Human can no longer monitor what's happening on a digital network, which is not physical. You cannot see a virus, cannot see a malware, cannot see ransomware. So there is need to have automated tools that readily send you alerts of any typical situation which is abnormal, because this cyber attack comes in different spheres. Not every attack that has to do with stealing your data for a potentially benefit purpose. Some is just to bog down your network so your users cannot find your network working the way it should work. Or now, if I'm trying to download an information from a network, some other machine is throwing a whole lot of requests into that same machine. So my request cannot be processed because a whole lot of random requests are bogging down that network. So it's not just about stealing useful information, but the fact that they could just deny access to the actual beneficiary who should use the network. So we don't have this capacity. And it's gone beyond having the physical, trained, certified manpower to actually having the tools to be able to monitor your network 24/7, 365 days. So Nigeria needs to embrace the approach by Western world. It is not just Nigeria, as a matter of fact, because they found out that even if you have 1 million certified cybersecurity experts, they cannot use their bare eyes to see the dynamics of what's happening within a digital network. So
Albert, what are you doing in Atlanta? You should be in Nigeria selling these tools and these apparatus and this technology to us here in Nigeria. We have issues of security everywhere. The Boko Haram situation, the kidnappers, security cuts across all the sectors. What are you doing in Atlanta? We need you here, man.
Yes, sir. So it's still a privilege to talk to people like you. We are very willing. I say, a matter of fact, the diaspora population of Nigeria is one of the last hope of that country. But they never have a chance to contribute. A lot of times, when you leave your job here and try to come to Nigeria to contribute, they know you are there for a window, a space of time, and all they need is to delay you here, drag you here, and you go back to where you came from. So we have to create opportunity for our diaspora to contribute, because we have renowned personalities with a lot of leverages that could contribute in terms of this element of our life. Because Nigeria as a country is robust, is viable, but we don't have the capabilities to manage some of the situation because technology runs the world. We have to position strategically, keep Nigerians that has this deep knowledge, these relationships, because it's about knowing what to do. As a matter of fact, let me share this with you.
I lost you there, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, sorry. With the automated tools I mentioned in my last contribution, with the tools available offered as a service, we don't need to have 1 million cybersecurity experts. Employ the tools. So now the managing and monitoring and network is going to be like customer support with these tools. But without these tools, even if you have 1 million cybersecurity certified to the brim, they cannot help you stop cyber attacks.
Okay, let's connect our conversation so far with what you heard earlier about the General Leo Irabor early warning system, because that is a facility in Lagos. I have been there to see it. Unfortunately, Dr. Ichimi is not here, because I would have loved him to tell us what tools they have now to carry out that whole, range of services for all the different sectors, including the military and all our, security agencies in the country. So how do you connect that, the services that you are an expert in that you provide, with a place such as the Early Warning System Center in Lagos? You've never been there, but I think you ought to be there. How can we connect that?
I can connect with it mentally without having to physically be there. Early morning is not Latin. Early warning information capability is English. You know, it's about informing people on time, because emergency is all about time, response time. So the real-time information could save a whole lot of lives. So I have reviewed, since you shared that knowledge with me, I've reviewed that project, and I wish that my co-contributor was on this panel, because you would have really wanted to know what capabilities they have. But that being said, such a facility needs a digital infrastructure that will continuously, real-time, inform the population, warn the population of a pending situation that people have to be aware about. And when I listened to a little bit of his contribution. Security is not just about physical security, human security. There's health security, there's fire security, hazard situation. So the emergency warning situation, for discussion purpose again, should be made in place that you can reach people massively at the same time. Immediately something happens, for them to be aware of where not to go, or where to avoid, or expect help from somewhere. So this kind of facility will require a digital tool that is like an SOS function that will be able to alert, report, monitor, and equally provide intelligence for the security agencies before, during, and after an incident. So all these capabilities cannot be done manually and being spread as far and wide as possible without a digital architecture, which is where the discussion now starts with a solution we have actually created in collaboration with the Nigerian military that we're about to put out.
Okay, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, I want us to look at specifically the issue of over 300 Nigerians, students, who were kidnapped by a group, and they were moved from one part of, a forest to another, and nobody knows where they went to. Over 300. How did they move that kind of a group without people even know where they were, how they moved, and so on and so forth? Is this not a evidence that we don't have anything on ground? Or is it beyond this? Is it politics? How can 300 people disappear from the radar of all security agencies? Not for a day, not for two, not for three, for several months, even years. Nobody knows where they are. And we are not talking of the dense rainforests of the south. We are talking of the grasslands, of the savanna and semi-desert areas of Sambisa. So how could this happen? And what can we do using your security tools to guard against such? Am I thinking right? Am I asking the right question?
You're on point, sir, and I'm really going to hit it straight up, just like you requested. Such incidents cannot happen anywhere in the world again with today's world of technology and innovation. We cannot fight new crimes with old solutions, with old mentality. It's all about response time and being able to share your alerts that you are in trouble, which is what we have come up to develop in collaboration with the Nigerian military, and hopefully this is not going to full blast of deployment, because it shouldn't happen. the solution we have, which we strongly believe will transform our capability. I see we try to have, because we are now desperate, we're losing focus. We cannot solve crimes anymore. So we are now thinking of, should we have state police, which I strongly object at this point. State police is very successful in developed worlds, but knowing our people might not be the solution. But that's a discussion for another day. The situation on ground is ability to reduce response time so that before these bad guys could settle, before they can move 300 people, it will take them at least 30 minutes within that space to coordinate and move them along. Sometimes they don't move with a car. Because where are you going to put 300 people? In what kind of car are you going to put 300 people? So they move them by foot. So, but there's technology today that people could easily share with their location, send emergency alert right away to security agencies put in place. Then this alert will come with even drone coordinates, whereby before your responders could get to location, drones can be deployed to initially provide logistics intelligence or surveillance on what's happening on ground to a local, like the emergency response center. So that center could now be where the initial information received using drones that's acting on the alert of people that are within the space, victims. So if there was only 2 people or 1 person in that 300 students who had a real-time alert monitoring and tracking capability that is shared with the security agencies through the emergency information center or to every responder who is within the space of where this happened, then these bad guys could be stopped before they even move these children out of the school. That is what Nigeria needs to focus on. Because once they move them into that enclave, that Sambisa, you might not understand the terrain. So you must have a response system that provides information real time for the security agencies to know that 200 students is about to be harassed, killed, whatever. Talk less about moving them. So if you don't have this real-time emergency alert and tracking solution, there is no way you can intercept this kind of incidents. Then also, how do you continuously track their movement? Because we have a capability that will track the movement of these people. Don't forget, you can have your phone once you activate the alert. This alert is on your phone. So you could actually hide your phone or even drop it in one of the criminals' bag. Let them give it to them. Don't turn it off. But you've activated the alert. That information you sent out will register on every department, agencies, or individual that are responsible to respond. So with this information on where you are, the names of the person that activated, the location of the person, the distance that the person is, will be shown to the security agencies. And they can now approach these incidents immediately before the criminals even settle with taking this route to where they have advantage of the terrain they operate. So these tools are there, and we are working with the Nigerian security agency to see how we can deploy these tools, which works based on the technology of geolocation. We all use it already. Some of our phones even have geolocation, so that you can share your location with like an iPhone. If you click the emergency, you could share your location with your friend or your family. These are the kind of capabilities Nigerian security agencies need, where they could have a 90% reduction in their response time, where they could locate and continuously track the movement of victims, where you could actually now use this information before, during, and after a crime situation. Because if they move these children, sometimes they move you to one location and you relax, sit down there. so it could be somebody's property, and after 1 hour, 2 hours, they move the victim to another location. Automatically, the system, if you are alerted, the security agents could track where different places that these victims were held at. So even when these victims have been released, or even when sometimes they're killed, the security agents could have the intelligence to follow up on those different locations that those people were taken to. People live there. A lot of time, people are kept right in our backyard. The kidnapped victims are kept right behind where we live, but he's gagged up, he's tied up, he cannot say what. Only the criminals know that there's a victim there. So even after the incident has ended, the victim either released or killed, the security agents could use the information before, during, and after the incident to track people and location that these victims were kept at. It should not happen anymore. Our response time is poor because these criminals will stay in that school for at least 30 to 1 hour before they move. Like what happens in Jos. What happens in Jos is people take over a village and stay a whole night killing people. If there are just 2 people in that community that could share this alert real time, the agencies will have the information at the same time, even if it's on 1,000 phones of different security agencies who are spread out in that Jos place. They could all move towards the center of the incidents collectively. This will boost the morale of those that are early to get to the vicinity of the incidents because they know that the other teams have the same information and they're all coming to the same solution to help them. And in terms of helping in dereliction of duty, a lot of time there's a patrol vehicle 1 kilometer from a scene of crime, but they are scared of going there because they don't know if the kind of man gunpowder that these criminals has. So they're scared to go. But if I know that I have 20 teams who received the same alert, same time I received it, they might just be a little distance from where I'm at. So I will go in there and hold forth till other teams come to give me backup. So we need to embrace technology that will reduce the response time by at least 70 to 90% of the time.
I was just truly absorbed listening to you. And what was just going through my mind is, look, everybody needs the services that you are offering. And I'm just wondering, because it's not just the military. You told us that you are working with the military establishment and so on. But who else can make use of the services that you offer? And your work is mostly, when you are talking security, it is mostly covert. It is not as if it's just in the open space and all that. But, we want to connect with you at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, for sure. I've spoken with the Director General, and he thinks we should connect with you. Other people would also want to connect with you because your services are invaluable. Tell us a little about the organization that you represent and how, we can reach you if we need to reach you.
Yes, so we at the peak of the kidnapping situation in Nigeria, we actually approached the Nigerian military, actually 3D Jos, because Jos was a hotbed of criminal mutilation, kidnapping, and killing. And then we had the then GOC, General Ali, who happens to be a golfer. We presented him with initial solution we had, and he now set up a committee to be able to give us on-ground operational information to build the solution on. We built a world-class solution that is going to be used globally. Everybody needs this solution. At the family level, we really took time based on the information we had from the military committee that was set up to develop this solution, because they required that they are restricted to the state lines, so there will not be, you will not send a lot in Jos and somebody in Abuja or Akwa Ibom will have to receive it. So we kept it there. The alert will have to be a maximum 2-touch activation, which means because if you're in trouble, you will not have the benefit of time to choose different functions to activate an alert. So activation process has to be on point, and then the response time should be reduced based on this alert. Everybody needs it. Small housing communities, private security, families need to just be aware of where they are. Even businesses like airlines. Do you imagine that an airline could actually use this tool for every passenger of his? That listen, if you're in trouble, we drop you, let me say in Ghana, drop you in the Caribbean, and you are in trouble. Use this platform. It's called Clugate. It is still not, it's not out there yet because we're working with the military. It's a security issue. We have to go with them to say, okay, we're ready to go. But we are ready. It's completed. So now, if I drop you in let me say, in Trinidad and Tobago, and you're just going to the beach and people try to attack you, please, if you're on this Clugate platform, hold on to the SOS. Go send a lot of your location to our private security situation so we can notify where there are no security agencies that are kept dedicated to respond. We can notify the security of that country that one of our passengers for airline discussion has been attacked or is in a compromising situation that needs help. We can share that alert. That alert comes with their location, comes with their distance, where you are. If you have a good internet, you could actually see the periphery of where this thing is happening. So even as the security agents are approaching, they will have the proper knowledge and visual of the entire surrounding that individual is. So it is not limited to anybody. Soft targets, schools, mosques, churches, where these bad guys choose to always go to create that sentimental feeling about what they do. If there's only 1 or 2 people in those spaces that have the solution, and there are responders in place on the ground to respond real time, then the surprise element will change the game forever. And what we even went ahead to do with our solution was to bring in a whistleblower function, where we will make crime reporting, crime monitoring, collaboration with the security agencies by the citizens, something that could be like a job. I can tell you, for instance, people collaborate to commit this crime just for the benefit of 20,000 naira. So if the government says, okay, we are going to dedicate 100, 200,000 naira for anybody who reports a crime that leads to stopping a major crime, then with this situation, we are looking for jobs. You thought every Nigerian will become a crime fighter with that single tool. Because we'll be now going around looking for situations, even vandalization of government properties, or even, let me say, a tanker with petrol, some assaulted on a major highway. People are scooping petrol. We know it's a fire hazard right there. You can activate that alert to report such an incident anonymously. You know, so the solution is sitting right there. Nigeria just need to embrace technology and look for the right capabilities to help Nigeria solve their problem. It's not by duplicating functions. It's not by creating different tiers of security, because that itself might become a tool in the hands of certain unscrupulous leaders who will use it for another purpose and create another security situation. So we have a solution that we strongly believe could help Nigeria, and not just Nigeria, because that will become a major revenue point for Nigerian business if the same solution is now being used globally, just like we use Google, like we use Facebook. That's still some of the benefit is endless, and the capabilities is amazing. You know, we invest so much money in buying chopper, buying guns, buying drones, but we don't have intelligence capability, the tool to activate this investment we spent money on. So it's really funny to look at how people in leadership just approach and address some of this situation. We can't solve Nigerian crime problem, manually. There's no way. We can buy all the guns, but you must know where to take the guns to go and operate.
This has been a truly fascinating conversation with you, Atai Albert. And I was just thinking there, you know, what you offer is invaluable. You are a Nigerian. You are based in Atlanta. And
Yes,
I'm sure you work for an organization. As I said, the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs will definitely connect with you. And I know that you are already connected with the military somehow. But other people, other agencies, even Amotekun would be interested. Amotekun and IPOL and all those our community security apparatus, they would and agencies, they would be interested. So you are not supposed to publicly release your information about your organization and so on. I don't know if you can do that, but definitely I know that a lot of people organizations would want to connect with you. Somehow we shall work that out.
Correct, sir.
The last thing, okay, go ahead. Say your last word.
Yes. You see, Amotekun could be 200 times more effective. You see, the surprise element, criminals prey on the fact that no help is coming to you. They prey on your vulnerability and your response time. Before any criminal act is committed, they have to think of how long is it going to take to commit this offense? Where do we exit? Where's our exit plan? And if the first 2, 3, 4 incidents they move on is arrested before they even wake up, or even after the crime has been committed, there is still enough information to help the agencies investigate the crime to a conclusive end. The crime in Nigeria tried because they are very positive that 80% of the time they will get away with it. Okay? So once we have the full deployment in place, we have the responders in place, sending this information out will be massive. But we cannot put the cat ahead of the horse because the bad guys themselves are listening. So we would love this to come in there quietly, and before they know it, they would not know what hits them, and they have to go back to the drawing board. So we will, for security purposes, we're not going to throw this open till we're sure that the responders are on ground or the emergency center is activated to be able to disseminate this information to the appropriate security agencies at the right time, so that the citizens will naturally go to it's going to be in the App Store. It's not going to be hidden. You're going to go and download it and register to be able to use it to protect yourself, your family, your church members, your mosque, or what have you, your schools, your marketplaces. You know what I'm saying? Because all these capabilities are embedded in this solution. And we're sure talking with someone like you would further make that happen even faster. The Emergency Response Center could not just be only one in Lagos to cover the whole country. We can initially deploy in the geopolitical zones, apart from the one in Lagos. And then the state governors could now extend to each of their states. They are spending money buying millions of naira of vehicles, millions of naira of guns, but you don't have a simple tool to be able to inform them where to go and look for the crime criminals. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So we are anticipating with our initial collaboration with an organization like this Emergency Response Center, offering them this capability. They'll see the value and now extend the knowledge to states, because this alert goes based on state boundaries. They will design that if you're in Osho only the security agencies in Oshu should receive a crime that's committed within the geopolitical, the geographical space in Oshu, so that you will not send a alert that will go all over the place. So if you are in Ogun, it will only be in Ogun State, security will receive it. But one thing can be sure, all the billions invested in manpower training, in hardware, in vehicles, in everything, can only be put to use with the right capability to provide intelligence before, during, and after. And that's what we have been able to create, not alone in very high collaboration with the Nigerian military, who gave us the operational insight of what they will need to be able to do that job easier. Even when you say, oh, okay, if there's no internet, we were able to develop. If there's no internet, the system will tell you don't have internet connection, but you want to send this by SMS. So we have brought in so much capability. It's local, developed by us. It wasn't developed by Israelis. It wasn't developed by Russians. It's developed by us. You know, so we're hoping that once we put this out there, naturally, people now will have a hope, because we're embedding it in a platform like WhatsApp, which is our own platform. So instead of you sitting on WhatsApp, you rather sit on that Nigerian platform that gives you access to all security situations, both health, fire, and life security emergencies.
Mr. Atai Albert, thank you very much for this masterclass.
Thank you, sir.
I see, listening to you, I see the faint outlines of a new Nigeria, you know, to complement what we feel in the atmosphere that the present government is putting together, and that at the end of the day, we are truly going to inherit a great country. I thank you on behalf of all our listeners and viewers around the world for this masterclass, as I called it. I wish you well. We'll be in touch with you. Have a lovely day. And to all our listeners and viewers, well, it's been another 90 Minutes with Mathematical. Join me again next week, Saturday, for another edition. Wole Soyinka's I love my country, I no go die. Until next week, bye from us.
I love my country, I no go lie. Now inside them I go live and die. I know my country, I no go lie. Now him and me go yap till I die. Ah! I won't begin with history. That war we fight in recent memory, where music will come from.